Wow. It finally happened. It finally happened. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about last night. What took place in Iran. You know, remember when I was saying we were right on the edge of a free fall? Like stepping off the cliff? Okay, now we're like that Wile E. Coyote chasing the Roadrunner, and he's already stepped off the cliff, and he's like levitating, and he holds the sign up saying help, and then he falls, you know? That's where we're at now. And there's going to be two things that happen. The church is not going to fall. The church is going to be taken. That help is going to be answered. But the world is going to fall. And we are moments away from that free fall. Guys, we're here. This is it. Look up. Be looking up. This is it. This is the labor. We are in full-on labor now. I can't believe it. I can't believe it's finally happened. After all these years, after all this time. I'm almost speechless, but I'm not, so I can do a show. But, wow. 32 gigs of RAM really does a lot. I have like 17 programs open, and I'm recording on OBS, and this laptop, I'm streaming off of a laptop, or recording. It might be faster than my desktop now. It has not, it's lightning. I mean, it has not hiccuped in any form or fashion. Thank you, Lord, and thank you to Steven for letting me know that I was able to upgrade the RAM in this thing, because my gosh. Now, what that means now is I am going to be able to stream on Steven's channel and anybody else's, and also stream what he's streaming to my channel directly. So expect that upcoming if we're not upgoing before. So man, I'm definitely gonna check the news, but I wanted to kind of incorporate some stuff that I don't normally do. I mean, every one of these shows is different, right? I don't know if I'm gonna find a format, a common format, if we're halfway out of here anyway. But let's see. Yeah, I wanted to look at Telegram a little bit, just to see the latest stuff that's going on. Amir Serfati, Iranian President Mossad participates in a demonstration in Revolution Square in central Tehran following the American attack on the nuclear sites. This demonstration is attended by many students who support the regime, or are forced to, as the Ayatollah regime tries to convey that national unity and incite the masses against Israel and the United States. Yeah. Here's JD Vance. Does the United States support Israel killing Iran's leader? Well, look, that's up to the Israelis, but we don't want a regime change. But we don't want a regime change? Well, like I said, I mean, Trump said he was gonna make a decision within 2 weeks, and it was like a day later. So, you know, they're putting info out there. It's the fog of war. They're creating a smoke screen for their future their future warfare, which is what you do in a time of war. You don't let your enemies know what you've got planned, you know. Definitely. That's like the first lesson. U.S. Secretary Marco Rubio and the possibility that Iran will block the Strait of Hormuz. I don't think this is too long. Let's watch it.
To close the Strait of Hormuz to try to disrupt oil transportation across the world?
Well, I encourage the Chinese government in Beijing to call them about that because they heavily depend on the Straits of Hormuz for their oil. If they do that, it'll be another terrible mistake. It's economic suicide for them if they do it. And we retain options to deal with that. But other countries should be looking at that as well. It would hurt other countries' economies a lot worse than ours. It would be, I think, a massive escalation that would merit a response, not just by us, but from others. So, look, they're going to say what they need to say. You know, these are the things that need to happen for their own internal politics and so forth. But in the end, we're going to judge them by the actions that they take moving forward. We had 3 objectives. We struck those 3 objectives with decisive force. And that was the point of this mission. And that's what we achieved. What happens next will depend on what they do. They want to negotiate. We're ready to negotiate. They want to get cute and do things that are dangerous. We have responses available that are devastating.
Woo! Well, I mean, like I said, and I'll stand on this, I'll die on this hill. You can't stop prophecy. Whatever they think is coming next, you know, it might come next, but what's eventually gonna come and disrupt everything is gonna be the rapture, and when the Lord takes us. And then, and also, again, I'll go back to the plan that I believe has been in the works for decades now by Russia and China and Iran and North Korea to tactically lay out their weapons in a way to destroy the nation that the U.S. basically. You know, if I get a little thing under my video, then whatever. But oh, is that Netanyahu signing stuff? Okay, so basically, Iran has declared war on us, and Russia and China have a strategic. We all need to remember this. We all need to remember this at the forefront of our minds. Every time we see something with Iran, we're also dealing with Russia and China. They have all signed a strategic agreement, and North Korea. As inconsequential as they may seem, they have nuclear weapons too, and they're all working together. And the thing is, if we were to take on each one of them by themselves, you know, they probably wouldn't stand a chance against our military. But all of them together, coming against us and taking decades to strategically lay out their method of attack, we don't stand a chance. Because, you know, we've gotten to the point where we think we're untouchable, and it's just not true. It can be done in a single day, and you know, people think that the U.S. is Mystery Babylon, and that it is going to be taken down in a single day, maybe a single hour. And I do believe it's going to incorporate the earthquake off the West Coast and the Cascadia subduction zone, probably the New Madrid, probably Yellowstone at the same time. And it could be set off by weapons, human-made weapons that are strategically placed by those fault zones to set them off. Trust me, we have much more powerful things than the public knows about. Things that can change the world. Or it could be God doing it himself. You know? Because we know America's coming under judgment. We've been warned. You know, that eclipse, that solar eclipse of 2017 and 2024, That was the X, you know, the X X'd us out. The X the US out as a nation. That was, I believe, the sign that, hey, you're done, you know. And we need to be taken out of the way for Revelation to take place, because it's all based in the Middle East, or centralized in the Middle East. All right. Former President Barack Obama is calling for increased federal control over online speech, urging tighter restrictions on what Americans can say on digital platforms. Cool. 777 over the anger button right there. I'm telling you, every time I see one of these triple numbers, oh, also 123. Anytime I see triple numbers or patterns or something like that, they pop out at me. I can't help it. Israeli officials have told the Trump administration they have no information of waiting 2 weeks for Iran to strike a deal. I don't know how that's relevant at this point. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has signed a bill mandating the display of the 10 Commandments in public school classrooms. Cool. I mean, it's, you know, too little too late if you ask me, but what they really need is to display the gospel of Jesus and grace. We really need to have like a universal, well, just post up John 3:16, really. Just post up etched in stone John 3:16. And that's it, you know. President Trump has confirmed that the United States successfully carried out strikes. Okay, so this was from last night. Yeah, 6:51 from last night. So let's go down to the latest. Tom Homan warns that the Iranian sleeper cells inside the U.S. may be poised to carry out terrorist attacks. You think? Benjamin Netanyahu says he can't confirm Iran's nuclear program has been eliminated, but it insists it has been severely damaged. Well, they have said, Trump has come out and said, we're, you know, according to Iran's behavior, we may not be done. Russia's Dmitry Medvedev says multiple countries are now willing to directly supply Iran with nuclear warheads. They've been doing that. This is old news. See, look, for those of us who have been paying attention to the flight tracker and all the heavy equipment airplanes that have been flying in to Iran from Russia and from China, and we've been doing the same thing from the U.S. to the Middle East. We've been prepping for this thing for a long time, for probably a few years now. We've been flying in heavy equipment, and trust me, a lot of equipment can be moved in a short amount of time when you're talking about the size of these airplanes. And they've been doing it for a reason. They're setting up for what's about to happen right now, or what has already started to happen. All right, let's say Beginning of Sorrows. Usually it's pretty good. It'll load. Load up, please load up. Hello? Go back. Load it up again. There we go. Second time's the charm. After the U.S. joins the campaign, Minister Netanyahu arrives at the Western Wall. Oh, that's at the Western Wall. Okay. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. 1 Thessalonians 5:3. See, that's what I've been talking about. Oh, look at that. Hey, 444 views. But that's what I've been talking about, is they've been saying peace and safety, with specifically in relation to Iran and Israel and Ukraine and Russia and China and Taiwan. Like, they've been saying this for a while now, and it just kind of, I feel like it's right now. I feel like we're on the verge of sudden destruction, like that peace and safety has already happened. You know, they're not waiting for, I don't think this verse is waiting for there to actually be a sense of peace and safety. I think it's saying when they say peace and safety, when they're calling for peace and safety, like ceasefire, ceasefire, ceasefire. And they've been doing that. And now look at what's happening. I mean, we're on the verge of sudden destruction. If something doesn't interrupt this, it is going to turn into that nuclear strike, that limited nuclear war that everyone's seen in their dreams. Not everyone, but, you know, the ones that we've been aware of from Bob's channel at End Times Dreaming Visions and Chris from Global Rapture Watchers. You know, we know what's coming. Alright, I'm only going to cover the news for a little bit here because I know a lot of other channels are doing a really good job about it. If 3 facilities were hit in Iran, it can be assumed that nuclear radiation was released. I would advise everyone in the region and beyond towards the west to not ignore wind movements and, if necessary, to keep windows and doors closed and, if possible, to prepare for them. Yeah. Iran's parliament approves the closing of the Strait of Hormuz. Yeah, I think they're on the way to do that right now. The Strait of Hormuz. Okay, we saw that yesterday. Yeah. Okay. Same stuff. Iran is planning extensive strikes against the U.S. assets in the Middle East, including the U.S. Navy. See, the thing is, Iran is emboldened right now, and I know you probably heard 1,000 people say this, but they're emboldened by the backing of Russia and China, and that's why they're not backing down. They're going to react. It's the smart thing for them to do, if they really wanted peace, is to cut their losses, accept the hit, and just say, all right, we give up. Let's talk. You know, but they're not going to do that. You can't stop prophecy. And they know that Russia and China are in the back channels getting ready to take care of Iran's big problem, which is us. Tyler posted, yeah, baptism is not necessary for salvation. That's right. Baptism by the Holy Spirit is the real baptism. Baptism in fire. Fuse has been lit by Trump inside the bunker report. Yeah, bro, chooch. Oh, look at that. Antonio Guterres. That's, need to practice pronouncing that name, I think. I'm gravely alarmed at the use of force by the United States against Iran today. This is a dangerous escalation in a region already on the edge. Take that into a prophetic perspective. And a direct threat to international peace and security. Yeah. There is a growing risk that this conflict could rapidly get out of control with catastrophic consequences for civilians, the region, and the world. Yeah, the entire world. I call on member states to de-escalate and uphold their obligations under the UN Charter and other rules of international law. At this perilous hour, it is critical to avoid a spiral of chaos. Can't stop prophecy, brother. If there is no military solution, the only path forward is diplomacy. The only hope is peace. The only hope is Christ. And you guys have rejected him. So, here comes the fire. Alright, I'm gonna check Bubba News, and then I'm probably gonna get into some other stuff. The Houthis announce an end to their ceasefire with the U.S., following the strikes on Iran nuclear sites and vow to attack soon. We declare support for the Islamic Republic of Iran in confronting the Zionist and American aggression, the Houthis' political bureau said in a statement. Meanwhile, the Pentagon is preparing for an almost certain retaliation from Iran on U.S. interests. Yep. Palestine 2 hypersonic ballistic missile. Yeah, maneuverable reentry vehicle, 2-stage solid fuel. Mach 16. Woo! Range. Woo. Truly nuts. Sections of Tel Aviv look like Ukraine this morning. Oh my goodness, dude. Keep an eye on Syria, as it now stands in the middle of an ever-escalating regional war between Israel and Iran, and the US and Russia and China. Not being fought with tanks and boots on the ground, but by air. By air, I guess. While the extent of the damage to Iran's capabilities to continue fighting remains unknown for now, an ongoing war could push Iran to activate what remains of its proxies in and around Syria, particularly as Hezbollah in Lebanon has refrained from participating so far. As attacks continue, internal tensions in an already fractious Syria are rising. Yeah, a magic wand interceptor, aka David's sling rocket, got stuck in the roof of a house in the center. Whoa. That's crazy. Okay, I'm gonna come off the news now. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This thing is far from over. Don't think this is gonna be one and done. This is just getting started. The fuses have been lit. It is about to get crazy. I mean, this may be the last video I do. That's how close we're at. We are 1 foot off the edge right now from an absolute free fall, from all of this simultaneous destruction happening, and the world will not escape. But we who are in the spirit, and the spirit's in us, we are not of the darkness, we are of the light, and we will escape. But the darkness is about to get a whole lot darker. But the light is about to get a whole lot brighter. So, I once had a vision of, I was standing on the side of a river. And on the side where I was at, there was, just green grass, and it was pleasant and everything. And then there was a river, and on the other side of the river, there was a blazing fire, just inferno, just the whole side of the river was on fire. And I remember seeing I think it was a dream, but I remember seeing this like rush of water come from the left side of the river, and it just like the river erupted over both sides of both banks of each side of the river, and it quenched the fire on the far side, but on my side it like watered the grass and provided nutrient, provided health to it, I guess, like hydration for the grass to remain healthy. But then moments later, after that fire was extinguished, it started right back up, and it was even bigger than it was before. And I had that vision several years ago, probably 15 years ago. And but what it meant to me was Jesus is the river. And for those who are on the side of the grass and the vegetation, whenever he acts and interferes in the world, or in people, in the plans of the world, or whenever his judgment comes, the grass gets watered, gets fed, gets encouraged by it, I guess you could say. But the fire gets destroyed, and it gets put out. I mean, everything that's going on the other side of the river is destroyed, pretty much. But then, once the water dries out on the other side of the river, it erupts again, even bigger. It's like, it reminds me of the way people are being divided emotionally and spiritually right now. Like, the people who are in Christ versus the people who are in the world and in politics and out there rioting in the streets and stuff like that. You know, like, I see that fire as rage. Like, you know, when the Bible says weeping and gnashing of teeth, that gnashing of teeth means they're gnashing in anger and rage. So I think that's what that fire was that rage. But I guess that's about as far as I can go with that. But basically what I'm saying is, and I've said this in many ways, like when the waters of Noah came, they served to, the same waters that lifted the ark served to drown the people. And God, that's how God does things in his judgments. It's a twofold, whatever side you're on, it depends on whether you get blessed or condemned. And so I guess that's what the vision was mainly, in a nutshell. That's what it was. But okay, I'm gonna close down Telegram because there's a lot of channels that are talking about what's going on, and they're doing a good job. So, and shout out to Keegan Fernandez and Bubba News and everybody who's been posting stuff on Telegram as regularly as you have been. Kudos to you guys, for real. Okay, now this, let's see if I can make this a little cleaner. I don't know what's going on here. Yesterday Yesterday I left off reading some of these, and I wanted to read a few more, if that's okay. A lot of these, they're all like different sizes, so it's gonna be a little challenging to maybe resize and get the point across, but and hopefully you can read this. Like I said, I should have put a background on it. I just didn't want to like destroy the picture, but a lot of this stuff is stuff that's kind of like old news to me, and to a lot of us, because you know, we've heard it so many times that the gospel of grace versus the gospel, or versus the law, you know. And but no matter how many times it's said, or in how many ways it's said, it never gets old, does it? You know, I've noticed that about the gospel and the truth, and about Jesus. It never gets old. Whenever I hear the gospel, man, it's always fresh, it's always new, and I always get fed from it. One sec. Man, that coffee's good. I don't know how people go without coffee, man. All right. Let's see if I can even read this. All right. The gospel of the law. Jesus came, lived, and died as an example to show us how... Okay, yeah. So this is the two different viewpoints of of Jesus' his life and his purpose. So, the gospel of the law. Jesus came, lived, and died as an example to show us how to live perfectly in order to avoid hell. God is angered when we make mistakes, and if we aren't careful and make too many, he'll send us to hell. He doesn't intimately care about our situations. We are to live as holy as possible by our own actions and power. We must clean ourselves, and if we see any sin in anyone else, we must tell them, if you don't straighten up, you're going to hell. Then we must distance ourselves from that person so they do not taint us. The saving gospel of Yeshua, or Jesus, the truth. Yahweh so loved the world that he sent his one and only Son to bear the punishment that was once reserved for us all. For we all have sinned, and still do, every day. We realize that until we are in new bodies, we will never be perfect. But we have been set free to show mercy and forgiveness to those just like us, sinners, because we were first shown it by the Lord. Repentance means to acknowledge sin for what it is, a trap, and to truly want out. We do not clean ourselves up. We try, but fail to measure up to perfection. Instead, we wait upon the Lord to cleanse us. The cross was a promise to everyone who truly seeks and desires to be with him, and God does not lie. Sometimes it even feels like we're going the wrong way to humble us. That our salvation is out of our hands and resting in his, for he is alive. We don't just believe the story, we live it. And then here's hate the sin, not the sinner. Yeah, see, so I'm gonna have to zoom out of this one a little bit. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, this is kind of a trick one. But prosperity gospels are true. Spiritual prosperity, not carnal prosperity. But don't condemn even them, for even they serve God's purpose. Lean not on your own understanding. Follow and trust no teacher except our Father in heaven. Matthew 24:10 and 11. Yeah, let me zoom this out a little bit. All right. When you go fishing, you can't expect to catch much with a bare hook. You need to dress it to appeal to the fish. In some cases, even to anger the fish into attacking. The point is that they bite. If they stay hooked long enough for you to get them in the boat, whether they get tired of fighting or they immediately submit, they have been caught nonetheless. But you also can't drop an empty line. It has to be a hook, dressed up as something we desire, something we are convinced we want at the time. It was our choice to bite at the time of carnal desires, but as we are pulled up closer and closer to the boat, we see the light shimmering on the surface of the water. We forget what we wanted before and only desire more of the light and to be in it. And as we are finally pulled into the boat, we realize the one who cast the hook is all we ever wanted. He came to us. Wow, that's a deep one actually. That's actually a really good one. Wow. See, there is some good stuff in these old pictures. Wow. And then I've got the scriptures, Acts 4:11 through 12, Romans 12:1 through 3, Matthew 4:19. I guess just the ones that support the text, but wow. I'm gonna have to save that and man, see, I'm surprising myself with the stuff that the Lord taught me in the past, because I've forgotten about some of it. Alright, I'm going to do one more thing. Gonna open up these these texts on black backgrounds because I don't know how many of them. I don't know what's in these or what kind of lessons they hold or anything. So let's just check them out. But it's these are some of the same stuff, the same things that the Lord taught me when back several years ago. I want to save. Okay. All right. One sec. I'm gonna have to figure out a different method to. Okay. Now let's see if I can just. All right. Okay. I've walked 1,000 miles. I guess this is like maybe a poem that I wrote. I've walked 1,000 miles. I've seen 100 shores. I know you stand beside me, but I'm always wanting more. I can't deny your presence that I witness every day, but as we walk together, I still get in the way. In the way, every day. You're speaking every day, but I so rarely choose to listen. As time keeps slipping by, I still make these bad decisions. I won't dictate my life when there's so much at risk within it, when I don't even learn from all of my past convictions. I see you've walked so far. Well, you're gonna go a little further. Trust me, it's in your interest to live life as the observer. I know you feel so small, but you're gonna soar with wings of eagles. If you think that life's too hard, then you need to finally seek the reason. This is, I guess, the Lord talking. I've seen you on the shores, and I know you're getting weary. It's hard to come this far and feel like you're just beginning. But when you're feeling weak, or you just don't want to continue, just know that with each mile, I take 1,000,000 steps within you. You've come too far to throw it all away. Find rest in my arms until the final day. Wow. Whoa. Wow. All right then. Goodness, man. That was actually kind of fire. Wow. Alright, hang on now. Alright, I know we're up to 40 minutes already. Did I really write that? I think I did. Huh. Well, I mean, when I say I wrote it, no, I didn't. You know, the Lord used my hands. Something that frustrates me more than most else is being told how I should feel. If I don't feel the way I'm told to, the only emotional reaction that I get from that is negative. The Lord has never gone there. He will put it in your heart to feel a certain way. He will never accuse you of not feeling the way you should. He speaks about the restraint of sin while feeling that way. Be angry and sin not. So yeah, that's just a little nugget, but... It seems to me that not many know what it means to surrender to God. It means to no longer cling to your will for your life, but to adopt His plan instead. It means to give up on fighting Him. We all fight Him with certain things in our lives, either not wanting to let go of our plans or choosing not to trust when the fear seems louder than the truth. But before all of this, there needs to be one thing established. It goes against everything this world stands for and our very nature. We need to fully realize that we are not saved by our works. And that means we are not saved by our reaction or what we do or do not do. Our thoughts not our thoughts, not even our love. We are saved by grace, which is unwarranted, unconditional, not dependent on us. Surrender your very soul and salvation to the Lord. You cannot save yourself. It doesn't matter what you do. If you are not true to yourself and the ones around you, you're set up to fail. Our control is an illusion. See, I wrote this back in... It had to be like 2012 or something, and I don't remember writing it. And the stuff in my books is exactly this. It's the same stuff, except it's new. Like, alright, I'm gonna read one or two more of these and then call it a show, because we're up to 40 minutes and I don't want to make these too long. I know we don't have a lot of time left, and I have a lot of these old messages, and the reason I was making these too is because I was getting censored on Facebook, and you know, they back then they didn't really have the technology to find keywords in pictures like they probably do now, but so I was just writing text, you know, typing in the posts, just regular text, and they were getting shadow banned and stuff like that. But that's why I started making these, and I was posting these on Facebook for a while. But I don't know what this one's about. It says conviction. Yet I've been doing all this for others and haven't seen that all those messages were written for me as well. Somewhere pride entered my heart, and I thought I was more important than I am. I thought I knew more about life than most. Haha, what a joke. I've only been here for 24 years. I wrote this when I was 24. Although I can't deny he has been speaking to me my entire life, but I let pride tell me I must be somebody more important than others because I was receiving revelations. I was deceived, but he still stuck with me and used me. Life is not about us. It's about the impossible reconciliation of a fallen creation to its creator through transformation by the sacrifice given by the Creator. This existence is for His glory, to do the impossible. He loves us all and pleads with us to drop our pride and accept Christ. So yeah, some of these are just kind of just rants. The covenants between God and man. This one I think is pretty good. Number 1. Adam was created into paradise with one rule of not eating from the tree of knowledge. Adam used his free will to doubt God's word and disobey him. Number 2. God used Moses to deliver his people out of the bondage of Pharaoh with the promise of the promised land, and supplies them with 10 commandments, the laws of God. They used their free will to doubt God and his promises. This says only Moses and their descendants saw the promise, but actually Moses didn't. So I guess I lacked a little bit of knowledge of Exodus back then. But I think it was Jacob and the descendants saw the promise. It eventually got so bad that faith was so hard to find that even the Son of God was shocked when he saw it out of the Gentiles more than those he came for, the Jews. 3. Jesus Christ was sent to fulfill the law of God himself, as no other man could, and sealed our salvation with his innocent blood. The first 2 covenants were flawed, and it was man's free will and the response to the covenant that was the flaw. The third is flawless because Christ went as absolutely far as he could go to make the path back to him to require the least amount of reliability on man as possible. A choice with our free will. Accept or reject. There is no follow-up that does not come with the acceptance of the Spirit. He does it all. It is out of our hands beyond the choice. This is freedom. This is liberty. This is grace. You accept Christ, You have killed sin. Well, he has killed sin. In his time and process that will become clear, don't pick it back up. Your soul is no longer your responsibility. It's in his hands. Just witness the awesome saving power. Yeah. All right. Yeah, there's some good stuff in there. But you know, if we don't lose internet and start seeing the bombs drop and get taken up before tomorrow or the following days, you know, I'll keep going through these. I've got a lot of them, and it's the only thing I can think to do before I start just covering news and talking about stuff, just relevant topics or whatever. So but I'm just trying to put something out there every day, you know, remain consistent, and because I know some of you guys are watching consistently now, and I really appreciate that. I don't want you guys to go anywhere, and you know, I appreciate your comments, your consistency. I get fed from this just as much as if you guys do, you know. It's a mutual thing. So, and keep your eyes on well, since I've got the RAM now and my computer is badass all of a sudden, for lack of a better term, whenever I go live with Mission for Christ, Stephen at Mission for Christ, or anyone else, I'll be streaming to my YouTube channel as well. So keep an eye out for that. And I don't know if I'll be pre-scheduling. I'm gonna try to. I'll have to coordinate with him, but as long as we're here, guys, I'm gonna be trying to do something every day. So just keep holding on. We're there. It's just like we were listening to the stream that Jason K did, and with Repo Man and Brian from I'm Awake Or You, and some of the other guys are pretty big guys. But we last night, Stephen and Jimmy and I were on Mission for Christ, listening to some of the stuff they were saying and reacting and stuff like that. And but yeah, like Brian was saying, he said the same exact thing that I've been saying, that I've been feeling. It's like I'm not paying attention to dates anymore. I haven't been for several years now. It's not about that. It's about feeling it, you know. I feel it coming, and I can't explain it any further than that. But he said the same thing. He said he's just looking up, and Chris from Global Rapture Watcher says the same thing as well. He says he's just looking up every day, and he feels it. He feels it coming, and I know a lot of you guys do too. And it's coming. It's coming. We feel it. I mean, how much stronger can the feeling get until it's here, you know? But again, I keep getting sidetracked. But what Brian was saying was the same thing I started off saying in this show, was we're on the edge of the sudden destruction. We're at the point of free fall. So when he said that, we were listening to it, I was like, whoa. Yeah, exactly. Like, he's feeling the same thing I do. But also wanted to say, just in case anybody's watching this, like, who I would really like to get in touch with Brian and Kevin from Kingdom Saints, who was on that live whatever day that was that we were listening to yesterday. But if anybody could get in touch with those two, I would really like to invite them to come on to do some lives with us over at Kingdom Saints and my channel, because those two guys, I really feel that they have a pretty deep anointing of the Spirit, and they're I think would really all mesh well together. So if by chance anybody's hearing this that might have one of their emails or contact information, I've tried leaving comments, I've tried reaching out to everybody you can think of, but you know, I'm a nobody right now, so until that changes or a miracle happens, you know. But I would like to get in touch with Brian at I'm Awake Are You, or Kevin at Kingdom Saints, his channel. But also Chris at Global Rapture Watchers. I'd love to talk to him as well. He's like my hero, but like my human hero. But also Tom at Watchman River, you know. So I'm just putting that out there, you know. I don't know. But here we are again at 50 minutes. Good grief, man. I'm sorry, guys. But yeah, it's hard not to take advantage of the RAM, the speedy lightning computer now. So, but yeah, keep encouraged, guys. Keep your eyes up. Keep in touch with that feeling. Stay in the light, as the BG said. No, they said staying alive. No, I used to think they were saying stay in the light, you know, but no, they were saying staying alive, but whatever. I like my version better. But yeah, guys, just hang in there. I'll see you tomorrow, if or maybe even later tonight. Mission for Christ, Steven and I might go live, so just hang in there, and we're close. We're there. It's here. The moment we've all been waiting for. So if I don't see you around, I will see you in the air. Peace.